A really cool thing about any language is it's always changing. And nowadays, it seems like language is changing faster than ever because of the internet. In today's English lesson, I have 12 relevant slang terms, but wait, these are terms that people my age, 30, over 30, just under 30, or even older can actually use. These are not just slang words for very young children and teenagers. I find it kind of awkward to be using, skibbity, toilet, Riz, Ohio as an adult. So those are not the slang words I'm going to teach you today. And no, I do not know what I just said, what it means. But these are the words that are going to actually be relevant in your everyday conversations with American English speakers. And they're the words that are going to help you sound natural and native. And the fun thing about slang words and learning them is you get to express yourself in new ways that you haven't before. That's one thing about slang and why it changes is because we love to be creative with our language and we love to find new ways to say the same sort of things. So as always, make sure to use the link down below to download the PDF that goes along with today's lesson. And let's get started. 12 slang phrases that you can actually use in your everyday English. Starting out with a phrase that you've definitely heard floating around the internet. I say this phrase all of the time, so it doesn't just have to be online. The phrase is, it's a flop. So when we call something a flop, it means it didn't live up to hype or expectations. So you thought it was going to work, you thought it was going to be great, fun, successful, exciting, and it did not live up to that or meet that expectation. A lot of times we say a movie was kind of a flop if we did not like it as much as we thought we would, especially when it's these big movies that are exciting to see, series of Avengers or, movies that you've just been excited. You've been waiting for them to come out in theaters. When they aren't very good, it's kind of a flop.
We learned it was a flop.
Being a teacher, sometimes I think lessons are going to go really great. I'm like, these words are really going to help my English learners. They're going to love this activity. They're going to love this. And if they don't get it, if they're confused and it turns out I just didn't plan the lesson very well, I would say, that lesson was kind of a flop. But keep watching because this lesson isn't going to be a flop. Let's move on to the next slang phrase. I'm unwell. So we don't say this in a really serious manner at all. It's kind of a humorous and overdramatic way to say I'm either shocked, I'm excited, I'm confused. Let me give you a few examples. I used to be a huge Game of Thrones fan, and some of the plot twists in that show left me unwell. After I'd watched the episode, I'd be like, oh, I am unwell after that. So obviously, it's just a television show. It's not that serious, but it's just a funny way of saying, like, that plot twist was so crazy, so unexpected that I'm not doing well. And we say it in this funny way. We say, I'm unwell. When my brother got engaged, him and his beautiful wife took these pictures in Hawaii of their engagement. And they were so beautiful. The first time I saw them, I said, oh, I am unwell. Those are so nice. So again, it's just a very dramatic way. You'll hear people say, they're surprised by something, impressed by it, whatever emotion it might be. They are unwell because the emotion is just so strong. Let's talk about what it means to yap or yapping. So this phrase, to yap, it's been around for a while, but it has really increased in popularity recently because we've just been using it in this new, exciting, creative way. So normally when you see, a little dog and they're in, we call that a yappy little dog. That dog is yapping. So it's kind of annoying when you have a little dog that's barking like that. They're yapping.
Yap, 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 yap.
Now, we can also say, two people when they're just talking, they're not talking about anything serious. They might actually be just kind of annoying, not talking about anything important at all. We say they're yapping. We've been saying this for a while, but it's just increased in popularity. So you should definitely know how to use this phrase and how it is used, because you'll see it on the internet all the time. When girls are just making a video, doing their nails, doing their hair, doing their makeup, and they're talking about some things that just aren't very serious, just kind of some interesting things to make a video on social media. We could say, oh, I'm just watching some girl yap. If you have two people you work with and you're good friends with them, remember, don't use these phrases with people who you aren't super familiar with, because they are slang and they are informal language. And your two coworkers are just talking, about their weekends, nothing serious, but you're trying to get your work done. You'd be like, hey guys, stop yapping over there. I'm trying to get my work done. So this is how we're commonly using this new phrase, to yap. It's new and it's old all at the same time. A common slang phrase that seems to keep being popular is to take an L, or for something to just be an L. And of course, the L in this phrase stands for loss. So maybe your favorite band or your favorite singer is in town and you realize you didn't get to buy tickets. You say, oh, that's such an L. I wish I would have bought tickets. So it just means it's a bad situation. It's a loss. You missed out on something. If you forgot to pack your lunch, or you did pack your lunch and you forgot it at home, you might be at work and you'll say, oh, that's such an L. I forgot my lunch. So again, it just means that we missed out on something. We made a mistake. We're calling it a loss. This is the slang phrase that we're using to say that something is just unfortunate. It's a mistake that we made. My husband hates when I use this phrase. The phrase is to give someone the ick. This phrase, it's definitely been popular for the last year or so, but I'm still using it.
Ew, fish!
When someone does something that gives you the ick, it can be you've lost attraction for them because they've done something that just kind of either grosses you out, or you can't really explain why, but it gives you a feeling like, oh, I just don't like this person when they do it. Or it can be something, that just turns you off to a person. You don't really want to be friends with them anymore because they did this thing. Some people really hate it when people talk in a little baby voice and they talk like a baby. Oh, hi, how are you doing? I'm sorry if that just gave you the ick. So that definitely gives people the ick sometimes. They're like, oh, did you hear her? She was talking in a baby voice. Or did you hear that couple? They were talking to each other in baby voices. And that just gives me the ick. Just means it gives you just a feeling like, ugh, I don't like that. It's cringy. Someone who brags about money, that kind of gives me the ick, because it doesn't matter how much money you have. It just matters that you are a good person. This next phrase, to catfish someone, this phrase has been popular for a long time, but it's still definitely relevant in the age of the internet. It's to catfish someone. So maybe you've seen the show Catfish. It's about people who make this internet persona. They, perceive themselves to be one way online. Maybe they even perceive themselves to be another person online, like they're pretending to be a really attractive female, but in reality, they are just some guy that's using someone else's pictures. They're trying to catfish someone, so they're trying to make other people believe that they are this attractive female, even though they're absolutely not.
Back-to-back catfish situations.
When people use dating apps, they will look at all the pictures and try to make sure they're not being catfished by someone. So they're trying to make sure that the person online is going to be the person that they actually see in real life and not just a catfish. So this slang is kind of complicated to use. It's kind of an interesting one, but definitely relevant. I use this slang phrase so much that I actually kind of forgot it's slang. So when we say the OG, it means the original, or it stands for original gangster, but we just use it to say it's the original version of something.
This the real OG up in here.
So we might say, well, LeBron James is really good, but Michael Jordan is really the OG basketball GOAT. So that means he's the original basketball legend, or I said GOAT, greatest of all time. If you don't already know that slang, that one's popular as well. Or you might say, Nike is the OG of making nice shoes. So if you like Nike shoes, They've been around for so long. They were kind of the first popular tennis shoes, so it makes them the original gangster, the OG of tennis shoes. Here's another slang phrase that's been around for so long, but it's only considered slang recently because it's so popular. We use the phrase, it's giving, and then we kind of say a vibe. We don't say what it's actually looking like. So maybe somebody is wearing a nice red dress. You might say, it's giving so chic and elegant. So these are adjectives, so they wouldn't normally make sense with this phrase, but when we use it in this slang and formal way, we're just saying the vibe that the dress is giving. Or maybe your friend says, okay, I'm going to practice giving my presentation for work to you. And they seem really unprepared. You could be like, it's giving school project unprepared. So you're saying, it's giving off this vibe of not being prepared. This is your feedback to someone on something. Maybe your friend is singing in the car with you and they're singing so good. You might say, it's giving Adele. Your voice sounds so good. Your cooking really ate. You might be scratching your head right now thinking, what the heck does that mean? If you haven't already heard this phrase, the phrase something ate. We say this when we want to compliment something that was done well or with style. You might compliment somebody's outfit or their clothing, and you can say, you ate with that outfit. It looks so stylish. Or if someone did a really nice performance, you could say, her performance ate. And again, if someone is really good at cooking and they make you a great meal, you can say, your cooking ate. So it's a total compliment to say that something that someone did ate. If you don't feel like you can use the phrase ate because, it feels just kind of awkward, it's maybe too popular of slang for you, it's too hip, you can use the phrase it's iconic, or you can call something iconic. That outfit is iconic. Her cooking is iconic. Her performance was iconic. Normally, iconic means something that was done in such a way that was so well that no one could ever top it or do as well. But we also use this just in our everyday lives as slang to say that something was really good.
Iconic.
One phrase that I love and I have totally been using for the last year is to say something lives rent-free in my head. So when you want to say that something occupies your thoughts constantly, you're thinking about something all the time, you could say it lives rent-free in my head. And it doesn't literally have to be something that you're thinking about all the time, but it could be something that you think about more than other people think about it. Maybe you have a song that you can't stop singing in your head. You could be like, that song just lives rent-free in my head. Or maybe you think about a really embarrassing moment in your life. Maybe you were at a party and you said something really embarrassing. You could say, I think about that embarrassing moment. It lives in my head rent-free. This just means that you can't stop thinking about it because it was so embarrassing. And usually when you say it lives in my head rent-free, you wish that it could go away. It's like, think about when somebody's staying at your house, if they're not helping pay the rent or, pay for the house, and they've overstayed their welcome, you're like, I wish they would get out. It's like, I don't want to keep thinking about this, but it's just either so just impressionable that I can't stop thinking about it. It's living rent-free in my head. I can't get it out. The last phrase that I want to teach you, it's talking all about body language. When you give someone side eye, it's just a look. You don't even have to say anything. So now we just say this phrase and we don't even have to say anything else. This phrase just means, we're kind of looking at you judgmentally because what you're doing is either so weird, so obnoxious, it's just not good. Side eye. If someone says something very offensive, you can just say, side eye. I'm giving you the side eye right now. Or literally, maybe somebody is talking and being rude while someone else is giving a presentation. You could say, I am giving her the side eye right now because that is just so rude. So you're being judgmental, but you're being judgmental for a good reason when you give someone the side eye. I hope that you feel comfortable using these 12 phrases in your everyday language. I know slang is hard to master in a new language, and I'm really proud of you for trying to learn these 12 new phrases in your English language. Now, if you want to learn more slang with me, make sure to check out some of the videos that are going to be on screen next. And as always, visit EnglishWithKayla.com to learn more English with me there. I'll see you guys in the next video. Again, thanks for watching. Goodbye.